I'm Aiden Sky, and this is Tales of Unruined Lives. Today, I'm going to be sharing some exciting news for me, anyways. I'm celebrating 11 years sober from my addiction to prescription pain pills. For those of you who don't know, from the time I was 16 to 18, I was highly addicted to Roxy's. It's like oxycodone, basically, like synthetic heroin, really strong painkillers. I was doing probably on average like 10 a day, which is just insane. I was really sick and making a lot of bad choices at the time, and I ended up doing a year in county jail at the age of 18. Today, celebrating 11 years sober, I wanted to talk about the 11 hardest things for me getting sober and the 11 things that are better for me now, like the 11 best things in my life. So I made a list, and I just want to share that with you just to show you that things, yes, they're hard, but they do get better. On days it seems like it's not worth it, you just have to remember how far you've already come. It's so worth it to keep trying. So I'm going to start with like the hardest things for me. And number one, hands down, was detoxing. I detoxed a few times, tried to get clean a few times. When I was 17, I went to a amazing rehab center in Alabama, and I was there for 28 days. But for the first 8 days, I was in a wheelchair. I could barely move. I was in so much pain. I could not eat. They were forcing me to go to the nurse's office multiple times a day to eat like Ensure and pudding because it's the only thing that I could or would eat. It was absolutely terrible. I felt terrible mentally, physically. Just the nausea and the pain, the like cravings. It was just terrible. The worst experience ever. And then, even worse than detoxing in rehab was when I had to detox in county jail because unfortunately, days after I was released from rehab, I relapsed, continued my lifestyle, and was arrested. Um, Basically right when I turned 18. Um, and I detoxed hard. Not really eating, sleeping a lot, crying if I was awake, just in pain, sick. But what sucks about county jail is they don't have the same like care that you do in rehab. So I wouldn't want to eat, but I would still have to get up out of bed and go get my tray because if I didn't, they would put me on suicide watch for not eating. Um, there weren't any detox medications offered in the county jail that I was initially put into. Another county jail I eventually went to, they did have detox medications, so that varies from jail to jail. But unfortunately, when I was detoxing, I had no medication to help me through it. I remember my mom telling me that like the first week or two that I was in jail, I would call her. She could not understand what I was saying. Like I would just be crying so hard and so much pain, so sick. Um, so I never want to go through that again. That was absolutely the hardest thing that I had to go through in my process of recovery. Um, Number two on my list. This after this, no particular order. Detox though, hands down, worst, hardest thing. But second thing on my list is just the anxiety that I had. Social anxiety after being released from jail. I felt like everybody was gonna know that I just got out of jail. I had so much anxiety. Every time I would get ready to leave the house, I would throw up, get sick, not want to go, and I would have to like force myself to calm down, breathe, and just leave. And like even like on my way there, like in the car, I'll be like driving sick to my stomach, like I can't do this. Just scared that I would be arrested again, scared that people would judge me, and just like general anxiety, like not really even knowing why at times. Um, Anxiety doing new things, like, oh, I gotta get a real job. This is scary. Oh, like things are different now. I have to completely change my life. That's scary. I was anxious constantly, and I didn't want to take prescription anxiety medications. So I was scared to like go to a doctor for help. Number 3 on my list is all the trust that I destroyed with my family, my friends, especially my mom and my brother and sister. Even after like I knew I wasn't gonna make bad choices like that again, I didn't want to hurt anyone again. They didn't know that. They couldn't believe that. I hadn't shown them that yet. And that was like devastating to me because it took a really long time to not feel like that anymore. It was really hard. It was disheartening. Like, I'm making all of these right choices right now. Why does it feel like nobody sees that? Why doesn't anybody trust me? It really hurt my feelings. It was really hard. Um, Fourth on my list is just the fact that I now had a criminal record. I was 19 when I was released, and I had, um, at the time, I think 8 felony convictions, and that was daunting. Luckily, my mom was a huge support system for me then and still now, to be honest. But she she let me live with her. She helped me find job opportunities. She was just amazing through the whole process. Um, I was able to find like restaurant work. I still work in a restaurant. It's great money. There's great opportunities, and a lot of times they don't care about a felony record. I was young, so I wasn't like changing my career path. I understand that that can be like very humbling for somebody who maybe had like a career, then got felonies, and now has to look for some other form of work. So yeah, it was very hard for me. And then even like finding an apartment. I now own a home, so I don't have to worry about a landlord. But a lot of landlords will not rent to people with a felony record. So that was really hard as well. Um, you don't get as much of a tax return. It's like all kinds. I couldn't vote for a long time. Just so many consequences that came with it that when I was using, I did not care about. I was like, give me all the felonies. I don't care. I just do drugs anyways, so bring it on. And then I get sober and I'm like, wait, I don't want these charges. So I want this record, but it's a bed that I made. So that was really hard to come to terms with. Number 5, losing friends and family. There are friendships and family members that still want nothing to do with me. 11 years. 11 years later, I have not proven anything to them. I have not earned a second chance. I don't think I ever will. And I've just had to accept that, I'm okay without them. Yeah, there's people that I really miss. There's people that I wish I could reach out to and they would respond. But after trying and trying and trying for so many years, you just kind of realize, like, I can't maybe apologize for the things that I've done. Maybe I haven't like thought that I hurt this person, but my addiction in itself hurt them. Maybe I didn't like steal from them or um hurt them physically by them watching me suffer. They don't want to put themselves in that position again. I hurt them. And sometimes you can't rebuild those relationships, and you have to accept that those people don't want anything to do with you, and they might never want to talk to you again, and that hurts, and it still hurts. I still get sad. I still cry about certain people, missing certain people, but you just have to move on. But I'm not gonna lie and say it's not hard. Building new relationships is number 6. because trusting people after you've gone through so many things, being arrested, being in that like addiction lifestyle where you're using and stealing and lying, and it's hard to trust people. It's hard to want to trust people. It's hard to want to make friends. And then when you decide that you want to make friends, you find that it's hard to. It's hard to trust people. It's hard to like people. It's hard to find people who have similar interests or similar experiences or can understand where you've been and what you've gone through. That is really hard. And it's, for me, I like turned to humor, like making light of my situation, um, which I don't think was the best choice for me now, because it's not funny what I went through. I think it's really serious, and a lot of people are still suffering and going through what I've gone through. Um, so there's better ways to deal with it and to make friends. But that's a hard journey. It's not easy. Discovering what kind of friends you want, what kind of friend you want to be, all of those things are things that come with time. Number 7 is finding balance. I was still very young when I got sober, 19. And, well, I guess I was arrested when I was 18. So I was 18. And 19 when I was released from jail. So I was still very young. I still wanted to have fun. I hadn't even turned 21 yet. Still hadn't gone to bars or clubs. Still hadn't, experienced freedom as an adult. And I made some bad choices. I was clean from drugs, but I was living a dirty lifestyle. I was still committing crimes and hanging out with the same people, making the same choices, and I got arrested again and put on probation, where I really had to balance. Like, I had to really watch the choices that I made, the decisions that I made, and it was probably good for me because I had so much supervision. I was able to like learn how to live a life without committing crimes, which was hard for me. I was 19, and I, since 16, had been living this, even since 15, really living this life of crime, doing drugs, stealing, lying, manipulating, and being high almost every day for 4 years, 3, 4 years. Math is hard, but finding balance after that, learning my boundaries and my limits. What can I do that's fun, that won't get me in trouble? That's hard. It's hard. Number 8, changing my mindset. I was negative Nancy, bitter Betty. I was angry. I didn't want no friends. I didn't trust anybody. I thought my life was over. I don't care. Total nihilist, just negative. And I had to change that mindset. I had to find joy in my life. It was so pointless. Like, I had to find happiness. I had to accept my vulnerability, understand that it's okay not to be okay, let myself be sad, let myself cry, let myself feel happiness, let myself make friends. That all had to be done through a changed mindset. I had to open my mind. That is not easy. It took me a long time, but I had some really amazing people help me through that. Support system is key, absolutely key. Number 9 is finding purpose. It was years before I found purpose again after being sober. Like, yeah, it's great, and I think it takes time, and I think you should take the time to just appreciate sobriety before you dive into saying, this is my new goal, this is my purpose, this is my mission. Just appreciate the sobriety. Finding purpose takes time, but that is also hard to do, and that's why I think it's important that you don't force it, and appreciate that it's hard because it's important. You are here for a purpose. You made it. My friends, some of them haven't. Some of them still might. Some of them won't ever get that chance. So, finding purpose is hard, but take your time doing it. I'm still doing it. I still think it's hard, but it's one of those things that you can find joy in the challenge of. Number 10 is imposter syndrome, self hate, not feeling like you belong here. I did feel like, okay, like I'm in school, I'm getting straight A's, but do they know that just a few years ago I was like doing drugs in a laundry room of a trap house, just been out of jail for 30 minutes. Like, what? It's so hard to like imagine where I was then, see where I am now, and believe it's the same person and believe I deserve to be here. Um, it takes time to accept yourself, accept what you've done, and accept the changes that you've made, and believe that you've earned what you've earned. It's yours because you've earned it. It's mine because I've earned it. I've worked hard to get where I am. But that imposter syndrome, that self hate, that shame and guilt, it's very hard to overcome. I get it. I've been there. And finally, number 11 on my list is saying no. Right when I got out of jail, first friend I invited over to my house pulled out some pills. You want some? I was like, it took me so long. No. It was so hard. So hard to say no. But I had been in jail for a freaking year. Decided I was going to be sober and I wasn't going to be ruined in the first 2 days I was out. I watched this person get high in front of me. And I was just like, I could just ask for it. And he would share by saying no. After that, I had like many invitations to like hang out with people, go to parties, get high, or just do things that might end in a situation where I was offered to get high. I had to learn how to say no. And again, that meant losing friends. Earlier, I talked about like losing friends that couldn't forgive me. And then I didn't talk about, but I lost friends that like I couldn't hang out with because they put me in a situation I didn't want to be in. People I still love to this day, but haven't talked to in a long time because I can't put myself in that situation. I just can't be around that because I don't want to endanger my sobriety or my safety. So saying no is hard, but you have to learn how to do it in sobriety. Now I want to talk about the 11 things that have gotten so much better, like the 11 best things in my life. 11 years of sobriety has completely changed my life, completely changed me as a person. I'm so grateful. Number 1 on my list is that people trust me now. Like, really trust me. People tell me secrets all the time. People, like, ask me to hold their purse. Like, my mom trusts me. Like, if I ask her for money, she doesn't like question what I'm gonna use it for. Um, I have like a good reputation with my coworkers and my friends and my family. The people in my life have great trust for me. I've proven myself to be trustworthy over these 11 years, and it feels amazing. It feels great to have earned that back from certain people and to show new people in my life this person that I feel like I truly am, a trustworthy person. Um, Number two is I can vote now. Stigma is changing. Policies are changing. There are opportunities being presented to felons that weren't in the past. So knowing that I can vote and like opportunities that aren't available to me now could potentially be available to me in the future is really encouraging. It gives me a lot of hope, and it helps me to care about things again. And number three is the real relationships I formed, the true friendships that I have. These relationships that are in my life now, I know that they're true because they're not revolved around getting high. We don't share that in common. We share other things, meaningful things in common. I have an amazing relationship with my partner, amazing relationship with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends, and they're true, they're real, and they're based on shared interests, shared values, love and care, trust, and it's just it means a lot more to me to have these friendships now. When I consider like all the friendships that I've lost, it makes me feel better that I can say, maybe I lost those to make room for these. And not saying that you only have a certain amount of room for certain people in your life, but when you have those true friendships, it can comfort you after you've lost people. Number four is education. I am in school and I only have 4 classes left until I get my bachelor's degree in general psychology. I'm super proud of myself. Education has given me purpose. I'm proud of myself. Man, I have a 4.0 GPA, and I am excited for the opportunities that my education will present to me. I'm excited to help people with the things that I've learned. Um, it's just a really bright part of my life. I believe that education is so important, and I think it should be available to everybody, including inmates and ex inmates. There are schools that don't accept felons, and I think that's just ridiculous. As I move forward to get my graduate degree, I am a little bit nervous about applying to certain schools with a criminal record, but I'm excited too because I know that I can make a difference, even if it's small, and my education is going to play a huge part in that. Number five is my job. I have a great job. My bosses love me. My coworkers love me. I make good money. Um, it beats like lying and stealing and selling drugs for money. It's legal and nobody can take that from me. I don't have to worry about going to jail after I made a bunch of money. So there are possibilities for work and to make good money and to be happy in your place of employment. It is possible. Number six is I own a home and a car. Yes, took me a long time, but it's possible. Felons can own homes and cars. Um, Recovering addicts can own homes and own cars. Um, and I take care of these things. I love these things. They take care of me. Um, and it's just a huge plus. Number seven is the peace and happiness that I feel. I'm not worried about getting high or where my next money for some pills is going to come from, or who I can lie to or steal from or manipulate or, borrow from. And I don't have to worry about going to jail or if I have a warrant or when I'm going to get out of jail. So I just have this overwhelming peace. Yes, I still get stressed. Yes, I still have anxiety. Yes, sometimes paying bills is hard. But compared to the chaos and mayhem of addiction, I am very zen, very peaceful, very happy. It's just a million times better now. Number 8 is my improving health, physical and mental. I still have some issues with my health, both physical and mental, from being addicted to drugs and from being incarcerated. And also trauma and blah blah, childhood trauma. But these things are improving with sobriety now that I am not constantly on drugs. I can focus on important things like my health. I've been to therapy. I've taken different medications. I've really explored these things. Therapy, I highly recommend. It's helped me immensely. I recommend BetterHelp, not an ad, but you can do this from your phone. I did virtual therapy through BetterHelp, and it was just incredibly helpful. So that really helped me get to this level of peace and happiness that I feel now. But yeah, my health has been improved immensely since I've gotten sober. Number 9 is my increased self-love and self-worth. I talked about imposter syndrome and self-hate, guilt, and shame in the parts of it, the hard parts of recovery. But the amazing parts of being sober is when you finally learn to love yourself, accept yourself, and understand your worth. I am awesome. I have overcome so many things. I am so strong, and I know my future is bright. And I'm not bragging, these are facts. And I hope that you can feel that way about yourself too. It does take a long time to feel that way. A lot of introspection, a lot of self growth, and a lot of healing has to happen. But after 11 years, I've finally come to a place where I love and respect myself. I know my worth, and I know I can do great things. Number 10 is the testimony that I now have. I can share my experiences with people and hopefully help people in similar situations understand that they can get to a place where they can have fulfillment and happiness in sobriety also. I'm motivated to share this. I'm motivated to stay sober because of this. So I think that's really important, and everybody's testimony is important. And that's why I do this show, to share all kinds of people's testimonies, because when you realize you're not alone, and when you see that other people have done these things, it helps you realize that you can do great things too. I had to hear from other people who have been in my shoes that they've done it to realize that it's possible. It's not frivolous. There is a point to my education. There is a point to get sober. It's okay that I was an addict. It's okay that I have felonies. I can still do things because somebody else did. So my testimony is important just as everybody else's is. And then finally, number 11 is the decreasing desire to use, that finally becomes little to no desire to use, that eventually it's I don't think about pain pills ever. I don't want them. I'm not saying that's going to be everybody's experience after 5 years, 10 years, 11 years, 20 years. Someone might be sober for 30 years and still have cravings, but for me, personally, it has diminished over time to a point where um, if somebody were using in front of me, it would probably make me very uncomfortable. But I know that I wouldn't want to indulge. I would not want to be around it or in that situation. But I know that I wouldn't participate. Um, so that's a good feeling. I guess it's not really relevant for me because I don't see myself in that situation right now. But it is like a good feeling to know that I have that self restraint, that ability, and it's something that I've overcome with time. I really appreciate you guys listening to my list. It was fun sharing it. It was healing to talk about. I hope that, hearing how I've been through all of these hard things and then also hearing how everything has gotten better for me is inspiring to you. I hope that something resonated with you that showed you that you can do this. Your life cannot be ruined. You just have to keep going. Thank you so much for watching.